holding in your hand a coin that, at first glance, seems ordinary, just a dime, the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt staring back at you, a coin you might have tossed in a jar, or maybe even forgotten in the back of a drawer. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary 1981 Roosevelt dime could be worth close to $1 million today? Yes, nearly $950,000, tucked quietly away in plain sight. And the story behind this coin is not just about money, it's about history, mystery, and the thrill of uncovering something truly rare. So, let's take a journey into the world of high-value coins, where fortune hides in the smallest of treasures. The year was 1981. America was experiencing the early days of Reagan's presidency. Pop culture was booming: arcades, cassette tapes, and the first whispers of the personal computer revolution. In mints across the country, coins were being produced by the millions. Among them, in Denver, a batch of Roosevelt dimes was struck, indistinguishable from the thousands of others heading into circulation. But a few of these dimes were destined for something extraordinary. At first glance, the 1981 Roosevelt dime seems normal, silverless, composed of copper and nickel, with the date stamped clearly on its face. To the untrained eye, it's just change. But coin collectors and numismatists are the people who see value in what most of us throw away. You know that within the mundane, the rare can hide. In this case, it's an anomaly, a minting error so rare that only a handful exist. Errors like this can occur during the striking process: a misaligned die, a double strike, or some subtle defect that makes a coin unique. These are the coins that make millionaires out of ordinary collectors overnight. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sure, there are rare coins, but a dime? Really? And that's exactly where most people miss out. The beauty of coin collecting isn't always in the face value, it's in scarcity and story. You see, millions of these dimes were minted in 1981. But only a minuscule fraction bear the telltale signs of the Denver mint error that makes this coin extraordinary. And here's where the tension begins. These coins are not just rare, they are invisible, hidden in circulation, sitting in pockets, piggy banks, and drawers. They're waiting for the right eye to notice. Imagine a retired school teacher finding one in a drawer of loose change, or a young collector sifting through rolls of dimes at a coin shop. One moment, it's just a dime. The next, it's a ticket to nearly $1 million. You see, rarity alone doesn't make a coin valuable. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and market demand. And for the 1981 Roosevelt dime, all three factors align perfectly. Its near-perfect mint state, combined with the extreme scarcity of the error, pushes its market value into the stratosphere. But let's take a step back and understand how this value is determined. Coin grading is a meticulous science. Experts examine every scratch, every flaw, every luster of the metal. A coin in pristine condition can fetch exponentially more than a worn counterpart. For the 1981 dime, the condition is everything. Even the slightest imperfection can reduce its value by tens of thousands of dollars. The stakes are high, and the collectors are savvy. This is not a gamble, it's a strategic hunt for perfection. Now, here's a little pattern interrupt. Did you know that the average American has probably thrown away more than $1,000 worth of rare coins without even realizing it? That's right, in kitchen drawers, under couch cushions, and in old jars, countless coins with the potential to change lives sit unnoticed. And the 1981 Roosevelt dime is a prime example of this hidden fortune. It's a wake-up call, a reminder that sometimes, wealth is not earned, it's discovered. But why does this dime command such an astronomical price? The answer lies in a combination of history, rarity, and demand. First, the coin marks an era. Roosevelt's visage, chosen for his leadership during one of America's most challenging periods, evokes a sense of national pride. Second, the mint era makes it singular. And finally, collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike drive competition. When a coin of this caliber appears on the market, bidding wars erupt. A coin that could have been worth a few dollars just decades ago now commands nearly $1 million, and this is not mere speculation, these are real, documented sales. Think about ITA, an ordinary dime, minted in Denver, sitting quietly for decades, and suddenly, it could change someone's life entirely. It's a story that tugs at our deepest instincts, the dream of discovery, the thrill of unearthing something priceless from the ordinary. This is why coin collecting is more than a hobby, it's a pursuit of possibility, a tangible link between past and present, a way to hold history in your hand. Now, you might be wondering, how can I know if I have one? This is where the detective work begins. Collectors look for specific markers, tiny inconsistencies in the die, unusual stamping patterns, and mint marks that tell a story. For the 1981 D dime, experts examined the letter D closely, check for any doubling, and scrutinize the overall strike of the coin. Even seasoned collectors often need professional grading services to authenticate and certify their finds, and this step is crucial. Without proper verification, a coin's value is just potential, not reality. Here's another twist. The market is constantly evolving. One year, a coin might quietly change hands for hundreds of thousands. The next, media coverage and collector awareness can push prices to unprecedented levels. This volatility is part of the excitement. For those who understand the nuances, timing can mean the difference between a comfortable windfall and a life-changing fortune. It's like the stock market, but tangible, tactile, and steeped in history. And let's pause for another reality check. Not every dime is a winner. The world is filled with counterfeiters, fakes, and exaggerated claims. Some collectors have spent years chasing coins that never held the promised value. This is where knowledge becomes power. Understanding minting processes, consulting certified graders, and keeping abreast of market trends can protect you from disappointment and guide you to genuine treasures. But imagine, just for a moment, finding that one perfect 1981 Roosevelt Dime. The coin gleams in your hand, pristine, unique, authenticated. You realize that what seemed like spare change decades ago has become a rare artifact worth nearly $1 million. The feeling is indescribably pride, disbelief, exhilaration, all rolled into one. And for those who have experienced it, the story never gets old. Let me leave you with this. The 1981 Roosevelt Dime is more than metal and markings. It's a symbol of possibility. It's proof that extraordinary wealth can be hidden in the everyday. It reminds us to look closely, to treasure the details, and to recognize that sometimes, the smallest objects carry the greatest stories. And who knows, that jar of dimes on your kitchen counter might be hiding the next millionaire maker. So, as you go about your day, keep your eyes open, examine those coins, handle them with care, educate yourself, consult experts, and never underestimate the value of what appears ordinary, because in the world of rare coins, the next life-changing discovery might be waiting for you right now. And the 1981 Roosevelt Dime? Well, it's not just a dime, it's a story, a fortune, and perhaps, your ticket to something extraordinary. It's hard to believe, isn't it? A coin you may have found in a dusty drawer, in your child's piggy bank, or even left in the change cup on your counter could be worth nearly $1 million. And yet, that's the reality for a tiny number of 2005 D-mint Roosevelt dimes. The question that haunts coin collectors and casual Americans alike is, why this coin? What makes it so different, so valuable, and so unbelievably rare? To understand, we must first journey back to the moment of its creation, in 2005. The United States Mint produced billions of dimes. The Roosevelt Dime, a staple since 1946, was minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were ordinary, destined to pass unnoticed through the hands of everyday Americans. But amidst the sea of standard issues, something extraordinary happened in Denver. A tiny, almost imperceptible error occurred during the minting process, something so small that the casual observer wouldn't notice it, yet, for the trained eye, it created a coin unlike any other. Now, errors in coins are not uncommon. In fact, coin collectors often joke that mistakes make millions, but most errors are minor, barely affecting value. This one, however, is different. The 2005 Roosevelt Dime in question carries a unique misalignment, a die error that was either overlooked or deemed inconsequential by mint inspectors at the time. The result, a coin that exists in perhaps a handful of examples worldwide. A coin so scarce that it has triggered bidding wars, private sales, and offers that most Americans can barely fathom. You might be asking yourself, could it really be worth that much? And the answer, astonishingly, is yes. Experts who have examined this coin in pristine condition of the type graded at mint state 70, flawless and untouched, have confirmed that its market value sits at $938,000. Nearly $1 million for a coin smaller than your fingernail. But before you rush to dig through your change jar, let's pause and consider why this particular dime has become such a coveted asset. The world of rare coins is both fascinating and treacherous. It's a domain where timing, rarity, condition, and demand converge to create astronomical values. And in the case of the 2005 Roosevelt Dime, all these factors align perfectly. First, the rarity. This is not a dime you can simply buy off eBay or find in circulation. Only a handful exist in this exceptional state. Second, the condition. Mint state 70 coins are flawless, with sharp edges, perfect strikes, and a lustrous sheen that seems almost unnatural for a coin over a decade old. Third, the demand. Coin collectors, investors, and even private individuals seeking alternative assets have turned their eyes toward this dime, driving prices ever higher. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Coins like this don't just gain value because of scarcity or beauty. They become coveted because of the story they carry. Every coin tells a tale. The 2005 Roosevelt Dime whispers of human error, of chance, of a single moment in time when a minting press faltered just enough to create something extraordinary. And as with all stories, the mystery enhances its allure. Who first discovered this coin? Was it tucked away in a roll of change, hidden in a coin dealer's stash, or perhaps overlooked in a collection for years, waiting for the world to realize its worth? Think about it. A coin you might have thrown into a drawer could have been quietly appreciating, gaining value with every passing year, while the majority of its siblings remain just dimes, ordinary, forgotten. Now, you might be wondering how someone even verifies such a coin. Enter the world of professional grading. Experts examine every facet, the edges, the luster, the strike, and, most importantly, the error that sets it apart. Only coins that meet the strictest standards receive top grades like MS70. And for our 2005 dime, this grading isn't just cosmetic, it's the key that unlocks its multi-million-dollar potential. Without it, the coin remains just a curiosity. With it, it becomes an asset that could rival luxury cars, high-end real estate, and even some investments in gold or stocks. Here's a little secret many people overlook. The value of a rare coin is not just in the coin itself but in perception. The marketplace thrives on rarity, desire, and trust. When collectors see a verified 2005 Roosevelt Dime in MS70 condition, they understand immediately that this is not an item to pass up. The excitement, The fear of missing out, the thrill of owning something that almost no one else can. These emotions drive the price higher, sometimes faster than even traditional financial markets. And speaking of fear, let's talk urgency, because in the world of rare coins, hesitation can be costly. A dime today could be worth nearly $1 million, but tomorrow, who knows, another discovery could surface, another bidding war could erupt, and suddenly the opportunity is gone. Think of it like real estate. Location matters, timing is everything, and sometimes, the right property or coin changes hands once, and never again. But what does this mean for the everyday American who might be sitting on a hidden treasure? It means vigilance, awareness, curiosity. That change jar in the corner of your kitchen, the dusty drawer in your study, the coin collection you inherited from a grandparent. All of these could contain a story waiting to be told, and in rare cases, a fortune waiting to be claimed. Let's pause for a moment and reset your attention. Did you know that coins like the 2005 Roosevelt Dime have occasionally sold in private transactions for amounts approaching or exceeding their publicized market values? That's right, as some collectors prefer confidentiality, paying handsomely to secure a piece of history without fanfare, and that means the $938,000 figure, while staggering, may only represent the beginning. The true market, when the right buyers meet the right seller, could be even higher. Imagine holding a coin worth more than most people earn in a lifetime, tucked safely in your possession, while the world debates its true value. It's easy to get lost in the numbers, but let's bring it back to the human element. Picture the collector who discovers such a coin, perhaps after years of hunting. The thrill, the disbelief, the sudden realization that a simple object of metal has the power to transform life circumstances. For many, it's not just financial, it's validation, it's mastery over a world most people never notice. And for some, it's the thrill of the chase, the knowledge that they now hold something almost mythical in their hands. So, what should you do if you think you might have a 2005 Roosevelt Dime? The first step is assessment. Examine it carefully, compare it with verified examples, and if there's even a hint of the unique characteristics, consult a professional grader. Don't make assumptions, don't rush, but do act. The difference between hesitation and action could be hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. And here's the kicker: the story doesn't end when you sell or collect. Owning a coin like this connects you to a lineage of American history, to the artistry and precision of the mint, to the rare mistakes that turn ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities. Each coin becomes a conversation starter, a centerpiece of a collection, or a strategic investment. In essence, it's more than money, it's legacy. As we near the end of this story, consider this: what seems mundane today, like a dime from 2005, can become tomorrow's legend. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson the 2005 Roosevelt Dime offers, that wealth, opportunity, and even historical significance can be found in the most unexpected places, that fortune often hides in plain sight, and that those who are alert, knowledgeable, and bold are the ones who claim it. So next time you empty your pockets, glance into your coin jar, or sift through old collections, remember this humble dime, remember the thrill of possibility, remember that sometimes, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just a matter of perspective and a little luck, because in the end, the 2005 Roosevelt Dime is more than a coin. It's a reminder that the world still holds surprises, treasures, and fortunes waiting for those ready to see them. And if you've stayed with me this far, here's a thought to keep you awake at night. Somewhere, right now, someone is holding the next coin that could redefine wealth, the next overlooked dime that could turn into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Could it be in your possession? Could it be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize its value? Only one way to find out. Now, You're probably asking yourself, how can a coin so recent, so seemingly common, reach such an astronomical value? The story begins with a peculiar blend of history, minting errors, and the intricate world of coin collecting that many of us only glimpse in movies or documentaries. The 2006 Roosevelt Dime isn't just rare because of its age, it's rare because of a flaw, a mistake, something the human eye might overlook without careful scrutiny, yet it has made collectors' hearts race and wallets open. To understand its value, we first need to take a step back into the world of minting, where precision is king. The Denver Mint, one of the most prolific in the country, churned out millions of coins each year. Most of these coins followed a strict template, a perfectly centered die, immaculate relief, and an identical finish. Yet, sometimes, imperfection sneaks in, and in the case of this 2006 dime, it did so spectacularly. Unlike other dimes, this one carries a subtle but unmistakable error that instantly sets it apart. A misaligned die that caused a doubling effect so precise and rare, it's nearly impossible to replicate. Here's where it gets fascinating. Coin collectors call this phenomenon a double die, a term that sounds technical, almost like something out of a NASA manual, but in simpler terms, imagine a coin die striking the metal twice, ever so slightly offset. On most coins, these tiny shifts go unnoticed, but for the 2006 Roosevelt Dime, the doubling is so prominent in key areas of the date and the word literature that anyone familiar with rare coins immediately recognizes it as extraordinary. This isn't just a coin, it's a minted miracle. But rarity alone doesn't drive prices to seven figures. What truly makes this dime extraordinary is its condition. Coin grading is the currency of the collector's world, where a perfect coin can command prices that defy logic. The 2006 dime that sold for $933,000 is a flawless specimen, graded at the absolute pinnacle of perfection. No scratches, no discoloration, no hint of wear. In the universe of coin collecting, it's like holding the crown jewel. A coin like this doesn't just sit in a collection, it tells a story, it represents mastery, and it becomes a symbol of ultimate status among collectors. Now, let's pause for a moment. Think about all the coins you've handled, the dimes that clink in your drawer or get lost in couch cushions. One of them could theoretically be hiding a secret of immense value, waiting for someone who knows how to look. This is where fear and excitement intertwine. Fear, because a fortune could slip through your fingers without you ever realizing it. Excitement, because discovery is just one moment away. Let's explore how this coin emerged from obscurity. In 2006, the Denver Mint produced an estimated hundreds of millions of dimes. Most went into circulation, jostling in pockets, vending machines, and cash registers, blending into the everyday noise of currency. Few were carefully preserved, fewer still noticed by collectors. Yet, amidst this ocean of ordinary coins, a single dime emerged with that extraordinary doubling error. It's almost poetic, like finding a flawless diamond in a pile of gravel. And when the discovery was finally documented and authenticated by leading numismatic experts, the coin became the holy grail of modern US dimes. At this point, some viewers might be thinking, surely someone must have known earlier. How did it remain hidden? That's the beauty of coin collecting. Hidden gems exist because most people overlook what seems ordinary. The 2006 dime teaches us a crucial lesson. Value often hides in plain sight, and patience, knowledge, and a keen eye are the keys to unlocking it. The collectors who recognized its potential first didn't just stumble upon a dime, they found a treasure mapped in the subtle geometry of minting errors. Here's another layer that makes the story even more gripping: the psychological rush of rarity. In auctions, when this dime was first introduced, bids skyrocketed within minutes. Collectors don't just buy coins, they compete. driven by pride, desire, and the fear of missing out. One misstep, one hesitation, and a $933,000 fortune could vanish into the hands of another bidder. Imagine sitting there, watching the gavel fall, your heartbeat sinking with the rise in price, each increment another step closer to destiny or disaster. It's the kind of suspense that rivals the climax of a thriller, yet it's real, and it's happening in the quiet halls of numismatic auctions. And now, a moment to reset. Have you ever wondered why some coins skyrocket in value while others of similar age remain trivial? The answer lies not just in errors or rarity, but in the stories they carry. The 2006 Roosevelt Dime isn't just metal stamped with Lincoln's visage, it carries a narrative of chance, precision, and human oversight. Every collector who owns one becomes part of that narrative, contributing to its legend, feeding its mystique, and reinforcing its market dominance. Transitioning from story to strategy, let's consider what this means for you, our viewer. Perhaps you have dimes, quarters, or pennies tucked away, overlooked in drawers or jars. The 2006 dime reminds us that wealth can be hidden in the mundane, that patience and awareness can turn forgotten currency into life-changing assets. But here's the urgency. Coins of this caliber are rare, and once discovered, they disappear fast. The market doesn't wait. Each year, more collectors enter the scene, competition intensifies, and the odds of holding a future 933K coin diminish. This is your call to attention, a gentle nudge. Look closer, learn more, act decisively. Let's pivot to the financial reality. Some might scoff at the idea of a dime commanding nearly $1 million, calling it absurd. Yet, history tells a different story. U.S. coins, particularly those with verified errors and flawless grading, have consistently appreciated far beyond their face value. Inflation, scarcity, and collector demand create a perfect storm, where coins like the 2006 dime are no longer mere collectibles, they are alternative investments, tangible assets that can rival stocks, real estate, or even fine art in return on investment. And unlike fleeting trends, a coin's value is enduring, anchored by a combination of rarity, authenticity, and historical significance. Here's a curious thought: what if that dime had ended up in circulation, spent on a coffee or stuck in a vending machine? The world would have missed it entirely. This illustrates another critical point: timing and awareness can make all the difference between a mundane life and a moment of unexpected fortune. Every coin you own is a potential story, a potential fortune, waiting for the right eye to see it. The lesson is simple yet profound. Don't overlook the everyday, because the extraordinary often hides in plain sight. And now, let's add a final layer of intrigue. Experts speculate that there may be a handful of 2006 Roosevelt dimes with similar errors still undiscovered. Perhaps one is in your own collection, forgotten, or mixed in with common change. The mere possibility creates a tantalizing cliffhanger. Could your next trip to the coin jar reveal a fortune? Could the next 10-cent piece you pick up change your life forever? It's a question that lingers in the mind, fueling curiosity, driving action, and ensuring that the story of this dime continues to captivate audiences like you. The takeaway is both simple and powerful. Rarity, precision, and timing converge to create extraordinary value. The 2006 Roosevelt dime is a testament to this truth. It's a reminder that fortune favors the observant, that treasures can exist where we least expect them, and that the pursuit of knowledge about coins, about history, about hidden wealth, that can transform the ordinary into the exceptional. For collectors, investors, and anyone intrigued by hidden treasures, this dime isn't just a coin, it's a symbol, a challenge, and an opportunity all at once. So the next time you reach into your pocket or sift through a drawer of coins, Pause. Examine closely, study the details, check the mint marks, observe the slightest anomalies. That 10-cent piece you casually set aside could be the key to a life-changing discovery. And as you do, remember the 2006 Roosevelt Dime, a coin that turned ordinary into extraordinary, a dime that whispers the promise of wealth, the thrill of discovery, and the reminder that sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest value. In the world of rare coins, there are no guarantees, only opportunities. And for the vigilant collector, each coin becomes a story waiting to be told, a potential fortune waiting to be found, and a reminder that history, chance, and human oversight can collide to create moments of unparalleled wonder. The 2006 Roosevelt Dime is more than metal, it is legacy, rarity, and a testament to the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And perhaps, somewhere in your collection, the next legend waits quietly for discovery. The story of this dime begins not in the world of millionaires or treasure hunters, but in the everyday hum of life. In 2010, the United States Mint produced billions of Roosevelt dimes. Every one of them, a tiny piece of history, honoring a president whose legacy was etched into American culture through the trials of the Great Depression and the Second World War. But among those billions, a rare few carry a secret, an anomaly so extraordinary that collectors and investors alike have been captivated, and fortunes have been quietly reshaped. It starts with a subtle detail, often overlooked by the untrained eye, the mint mark. The D stamped on the coin's reverse, indicating it was minted in Denver, is what sets this dime apart from the millions of others. But the story doesn't end there. What makes this particular 2010 Roosevelt Dime extraordinary isn't just its origin, it's the remarkable error that occurred during its creation. In a moment of minting perfection gone awry, a misalignment, a die error, or an unusual striking produced a coin unlike any other. You might be asking yourself, is it really possible that something so small could be worth hundreds of thousands? Even close to $1 million? It is, and here's why. In the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, a rarity isn't just about age. It's about scarcity, uniqueness, and condition. A coin like this, virtually flawless, with an extremely rare minting error, becomes a living piece of art, a tangible investment that transcends ordinary currency. It is as much a story of human error as it is a story of value. Think about it. Most people look at their pocket change and see, well, a broken bar change. A dime is 10 cents. But this 2010 dime flips that perception entirely. To the uninitiated, it's just a coin. To the informed collector or savvy investor, it is a ticket, potentially a ticket to life-changing wealth. And this is where fear and excitement intertwine. Fear, because most people will never know the fortune they hold in their hands. Excitement, because you might imagine discovering a coin like this tucked away in a dusty drawer, or more likely it slipped between the folds of a purse or under the couch cushions. It's easy to dismiss a dime as insignificant. After all, how much trouble could a 10-cent piece cause? Well, this dime has caused quite a stir in the coin collecting community. Experts have combed through mint records, compared thousands of coins, and yet only a handful have surfaced. This scarcity is exactly what drives the value to astronomical heights. $919,000 isn't just a number, it's a reflection of history, chance, and human fascination with rarity. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this dime so special that someone would pay nearly $1 million for it? The answer lies in the perfect convergence of three factors: rarity, condition, and provenance. First, rarity. There are only a select number of these rare coins known to exist. Second, condition. These coins are graded on a meticulous scale, and the highest grades can command prices that seem almost unfathomable. Third, provenance. The documented history of ownership, verification by professional grading services, and authentication, all combine to elevate a coin from a mere curiosity to a certified treasure. And here's where the narrative takes a twist. Discovering a coin like this is not just about luck, it's about knowledge, awareness, and timing. Many of these coins are sitting in collections, unaware owners, or in circulation, simply waiting to be noticed. Imagine the thrill of holding one, knowing the world of numismatics has recognized its worth, but the true magnitude of its value has yet to hit the mainstream. That feeling, a mix of triumph, disbelief, and urgency, is almost addictive. It's the very reason collectors wake up at dawn to attend auctions, comb flea markets, and scrutinize every coin they encounter. But let's pause for a moment. You might be thinking, okay, I understand rarity matters, but $919,000? That's insane. And yes, it is. Which brings us to the fascinating psychology of wealth and opportunity. Humans are wired to recognize patterns, to chase the extraordinary, and to dream of life-changing discoveries. This dime taps into that primal excitement. One coin, one small piece of metal, can transform a life. It embodies not just value, but possibility, and a kind of possibility that makes you reconsider the contents of that old coin jar or that stack of spare change. Collectors who have stumbled upon coins like this often describe a sense of disbelief followed by calculated action. They know they're holding something rare, and that knowledge creates a powerful tension. Do you sell immediately, securing a fortune, or do you hold, hoping that the coin's value will climb even higher? In 2026, the market for rare coins is more sophisticated, more connected, and more competitive than ever. Auctions, private sales, and online marketplaces have turned numismatics into a high-stakes arena, where knowledge is power and timing is everything. And this is where most people falter. They see a coin, they admire it, but they lack the expertise to recognize a true gem when it's staring them in the face. That's why education, awareness, and expert consultation are critical. A professional grading can transform a coin from an overlooked curiosity into a verified treasure worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Imagine the scenario. Someone casually spends a dime, only to discover years later that it could have changed their life forever. That's the edge of suspense, the cliffhanger moment that keeps collectors and enthusiasts on the edge of their seats. But let's return to our 2010 Roosevelt Dime. Its allure isn't just financial, it's symbolic. It represents the intersection of history, craftsmanship, and human fascination. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president whose visage adorns this dime, was a man of vision, resilience, and determination, and in a poetic twist, a coin bearing his image now embodies those same qualities. The ability to endure, to surprise, and to inspire dreams of opportunity. Humor me for a second. How many times have you looked at a dime and thought, well, that's just a dime? Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. Yet here we are, talking about a single dime that can redefine the concept of value entirely. The disconnect between perception and reality is exactly what makes rare coins so compelling. They remind us that wealth can be hidden in plain sight, that history often disguises itself in the mundane, and that opportunity favors the prepared. And this is where the story becomes urgent. Every day that passes, another 2010 Roosevelt dime may be lost, overlooked, or mistaken for ordinary change. Every day, collectors and investors vie for a chance to acquire these rare coins before they disappear into private collections or secure vaults. Time is not just a factor, it's an invisible competitor, constantly moving the value higher for those who act wisely and leaving regret in the wake of those who hesitate. So, what should you take away from this? First, pay attention. Examine the coins you encounter in circulation, in collections, and even tucked away in drawers. Second, educate yourself and learn the nuances of mint marks, errors, and grading. Third, recognize the moment when opportunity presents itself, because coins like this don't wait. They are the quiet million-dollar invitations hidden in plain sight, whispering to those willing to see beyond the surface. And here's a final twist, the kind that numismatists live for. The 2010 Roosevelt Dime is not just a story of wealth, it's a story of possibility, of discovery, and of the thrill of the hunt. It's about seeing potential where others see only metal. It's about understanding that in a world of billions of coins, a single dime can hold a fortune, and perhaps most importantly, it's about the reminder that sometimes, the extraordinary is hiding in the ordinary, waiting for someone like you to notice. So, the next time you pick up a dime, don't just think about 10 cents, think about the chance that it could be your ticket to an entirely new reality. Think about the rare 2010 Roosevelt Dime that has already captured the attention of collectors around the world. Think about the $919,000 that could transform a life, sitting quietly in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten drawer, because in the world of rare coins, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin, and one small discovery could change everything. History, chance, and human curiosity converge in this tiny piece of metal, and as you sit back and imagine holding one, the tension, the thrill, and the possibility will keep echoing in your mind, because the story of the 2010 Roosevelt Dime is far from over. It's waiting for the next person to recognize it, to act on it, and to turn a small coin into a life-changing treasure. $919,000. One dime, countless possibilities, and perhaps, if you're lucky, it could be yours. There's a coin sitting somewhere right now, a broken bar, maybe in a dusty drawer, maybe in a drawer on a kitchen shelf, maybe even in your pocket, a broken bar, and it could be worth $5 million. Not a typo, not hype. $5 million. The question is, would you recognize it before someone else does? Because in 1965, something unusual happened in American coin production. A quiet change. No announcement, no warning, just a subtle shift that most people never noticed. And hidden inside that shift, a broken bar is one of the most talked about, misunderstood, and potentially life-changing coins in modern U.S. history. Now imagine this, you're cleaning out an old box. Bills, receipts, a few coins fall out. You almost ignore them. Why wouldn't you? It's just loose change, right? But what if one of those coins isn't just a quarter, a broken bar, but a financial turning point? What if that single coin could erase debt, fund retirement, or completely change your lifestyle? That's exactly why collectors, investors, and everyday Americans are now hunting for the 1965 quarter with no mint mark. Let's go back for a moment. 1965 was a pivotal year in U.S. coinage. Rising silver prices forced the government to make a major decision. For decades, quarters were made of 90% silver, but suddenly, that changed. The composition shifted to a copper-nickel blend, and at the same time, mint marks, of those tiny letters indicating where a coin was produced, were temporarily removed. On the surface, nothing dramatic, but beneath that decision, something extraordinary may have slipped through, because during that transition, a small number of coins were struck using the old silver composition, a broken bar without mint marks, a broken bar in a year when they technically shouldn't exist. Let that sink in. A coin that wasn't supposed to be made, a coin that looks ordinary, a coin that could pass through thousands of hands unnoticed, a broken bar until someone who knows what to look for spots it. And that's where things get interesting, because today, one of these rare transitional era quarters has been valued at up to $5 million under the right conditions. Not because it's shiny, not because it's old, but because it represents a mistake, a broken bar, a moment in history, a broken bar, and extreme rarity. Now you might be thinking, if it's worth millions, wouldn't everyone already know about it? That's the trap. Most people don't check their coins closely. They assume value comes from age alone, or they think rare coins are locked away in museums or already owned by wealthy collectors. But history shows something very different. Some of the most valuable coins ever discovered were found by ordinary people, people like you, people who weren't experts at broken bar until they found something that forced them to become one. So what makes this 1965 quarter so valuable? First, the composition. The standard 1965 quarter is made from a copper nickel clad, but the rare version of broken bar, the one collectors dream about, a broken bar, is struck in 90% silver. That alone makes it stand out if you know how to test it. Second, the missing mint mark. In 1965, mint marks were intentionally removed from all coins. So while that might sound normal, a broken bar, it actually makes identifying anomalies even harder. There's no easy label, no quick confirmation. It requires attention, precision, and sometimes a bit of courage to trust what you're seeing. Third, condition. And this is where things escalate fast. A heavily worn coin might still hold value, but a high-grade specimen, a one that's been preserved, untouched, almost flawless, it can push valuations into the millions. And here's the twist: a broken bar coins like this don't always look impressive. Seriously, you could be holding one right now and dismiss it because it doesn't sparkle like jewelry. It doesn't scream "I'm valuable." It whispers, quietly, patiently, waiting for the right person to notice. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you actually checked your change? Not glanced. Checked. Because if the answer is never, you're not alone. And that's exactly why opportunities like this still exist. Let's bring this into the present. The coin market has exploded in recent years. More people are turning to tangible assets, collectibles, rare items that hold value beyond traditional investments. And coins, especially rare coins, have become one of the most accessible entry points. But accessibility doesn't mean easy, because for every genuine rare coin, there are thousands of ordinary ones. And the difference between them and a broken bar can be microscopic. Weight, for example, a standard clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but a silver quarter, slightly more. That tiny difference can mean the gap between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. Sound? Yes, sound. Drop a silver coin, and it rings differently than a clad coin. It's sharper, cleaner, almost musical. It's one of those details most people overlook. A broken bar until they hear it. Edge color. Look at the side of the coin. A clad quarter shows a copper stripe, a silver one does not. It's solid, uniform. Again, subtly broken bar but critical. Now imagine combining all of these clues. You check a coin, it looks normal, but then you weigh it, a broken bar, and something feels off. You listen to a broken bar and it sounds different. You inspect the edge of a broken bar and there's no copper line. At that moment, a broken bar, your heart rate changes, because now, it's not just a coin, it's a possibility. And possibilities like this don't come often. But here's where things get even more intense. Not every silver 1965 quarter is automatically worth millions. The market is precise. Condition, authentication, and provenance all play a role. A coin must be verified by professional grading services. It must be confirmed as a genuine transitional error, and it must meet the highest standards of preservation to reach those extreme valuations, which means a broken bar. Even if you find one, the journey is just beginning. But think about that journey, from a random coin, a broken bar, to authentication, a broken bar, to auction, a broken bar, to potentially changing your entire financial future. That's not just collecting, that's transformation. Now let me ask you something. If a $5 million coin passed through your hands yesterday, a broken bar, would you even know? Or would it already be gone? That's the uncomfortable truth. Opportunities don't announce themselves. They appear quietly, briefly, and then they move on, unless you're paying attention. And that's what separates those who find value in a broken bar from those who miss it. Because this isn't just about one coin. It's about awareness. It's about understanding that wealth can exist in places most people ignore. A coin jar, a drawer, a forgotten collection inherited from a relative, How many people have thrown away small fortunes without realizing it? More than you think. And here's where the urgency comes in. As awareness grows, the chances of finding undiscovered treasures decrease. More collectors are searching, more coins are being examined. The window is still open, a broken bar, but it's narrowing, which means right now a broken bar is the best time to start looking. Not tomorrow, not next week, now, because every coin you check is a chance, every quarter is a question, and one of those questions might have a $5 million answer. But here's the final twist: a broken bar, even if you never find that exact coin, the process itself changes you. You become more observant, more informed, more aware of value where others see none. And that mindset, a broken bar, that shift to broken bar, is what leads to opportunity in every area of life. So the next time you receive change, a broken bar, don't just spend it. Pause, look at it, feel it, because hidden inside something so ordinary, a broken bar could be something extraordinary. And somewhere out there, a broken bar right now, a broken bar, that 1965 no mint mark quarter, is still waiting to be found. The only question left is a broken bar. Will it be you who finds it, a broken bar, or someone else who gets there first? There's a coin sitting somewhere right now, a broken bar, maybe in a dusty drawer, maybe in a forgotten jar, maybe even in your own pocket, a broken bar, and it looks completely ordinary. No glitter, no gold shine, nothing that screams I'm worth millions. Just a simple quarter, a 1966 quarter, no mint mark. And yet, under the right circumstances, that tiny piece of metal could be worth up to $3 million. Now before you roll your eyes and think, yeah right, if I had that kind of luck, I'd have found it already, let me ask you something: a broken bar, how many coins have you handled in your life without really looking at them? Hundreds? Thousands? What if one of those moments was your missed opportunity? Because here's the truth: the broken bar, most people don't recognize wealth when it's disguised as something ordinary. Back in 1966, something unusual happened in the U.S. coin system. The government removed mint marks from coins. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, nothing, just blank. Why? To stop collectors from hoarding coins. Ironically, that decision created one of the most fascinating mysteries in coin collecting history. At first glance, a 1966 quarter with no mint mark seems completely normal. In fact, millions of them were made. But here's where things start to get interesting: a broken bar, not all of them are the same. Some of these quarters were struck under conditions that created rare and valuable variations, and a few broken bar, an extremely small number of broken bar, were minted with errors so unique, so rare, that collectors today are willing to pay staggering amounts to own them. We're not talking about a few $100s, not even a few thousand. We're talking about life-changing money. Imagine these: a broken bar, you're going through an old box of coins. Maybe they belonged to your parents or grandparents. You're expecting nothing more than pocket change, and then you spot it. A 1966 quarter, no mint mark. You almost toss it aside, a broken bar, but something feels different, slightly off. The weight, the shine, the details, that tiny hesitation. A broken bar, that moment of curiosity. A broken bar could be the difference between a regular day and a multi-million-dollar discovery. Now let's slow down for a second, because this is where most people make a mistake. They assume rarity is obvious. They think a valuable coin should look special. But the truth is, some of the most valuable coins in history look completely ordinary to the untrained eye, and that's exactly why they slip through the cracks. One of the most valuable types of 1966 quarters comes from minting errors. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and transitional metal compositions. Yes, transitional. That means a coin struck on the wrong type of metal blank, and when that happens, a broken bar, you get something the mint never intended to create. Think about that for a moment. A mistake, an accident, something that shouldn't exist. A broken bar becomes one of the most valuable objects in the world. Kind of funny, right? Your biggest financial breakthrough might come from someone else's error. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating, a broken bar and a little bit unsettling. Some 1966 quarters have been discovered with a composition closer to silver, even though by that time, most quarters were already made with a copper nickel clad. If you happen to find one that slipped through the system, a broken bar, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of history that defied the rules. And collectors, they pay big for that kind of story. But let me ask you something, a broken bar, when was the last time you actually checked the edge of a quarter? Seriously, think about it. Most people don't even know that the edge can tell you what the coin is made of. If you see a solid silver edge instead of that copper strippy broken bar, your heart might start beating a little faster. And it should, because that's one of the first signs you might be holding something extraordinary. Now don't get too excited just yet, a broken bar, because not every unusual coin is worth millions. But here's the catch, a broken bar, the ones that are, they often look just like the ones that aren't. And that's where the real challenge begins. You have to know what to look for: sharp details in the design, unusual thickness, errors in lettering, doubling in the date or the words, tiny imperfections that most people would ignore a broken bar but collectors obsess over. It's almost like a hidden language, a secret code. And once you learn it, you start seeing coins differently. You stop seeing 25 cents a broken bar and start seeing possibilities. Now imagine a scenario: broken bar. You take that coin to a professional grader. You're nervous, maybe even a little skeptical. They examine it under magnification, check the weight, analyze the metal composition, a broken bar, and then they look up at you with a completely different expression. That's the moment where everything changes. Because if your coin checks all the right boxes, a broken bar: rarity, condition, authenticity, a broken bar, you're no longer holding pocket change, you're holding an asset, a serious one. And here's something most people don't realize: a broken bar condition matters just as much as rarity. A coin that's been preserved in near perfect condition can multiply its value dramatically. We're talking exponential differences. So that quarter sitting in your drawer, a broken bar, scratched, worn, and faded, a broken bar might be worth something. But the one that looks like it just came out of the mint, that's the one collectors fight over. And when collectors compete, a broken bar prices explode. Let's talk numbers for a second. While many 1966 quarters are worth exactly what you'd expect, a broken bar 25 cents a broken bar, rare variants have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, and in extreme cases, have been valued in the millions. Yes, millions. And that's not hype, that's the reality of scarcity meeting demand. But here's the part that should make you pause: a broken bar. Most of these valuable coins were discovered years after they were minted, not immediately, not by experts, but by ordinary people who took a closer look, people just like you. So what does that mean? It means the story isn't over. There are still undiscovered coins out there, still hiding in circulation, collections, and forgotten storage boxes, still waiting for someone to notice. And here's a thought that might keep you up tonight: a broken bar. What if one of those coins is already in your possession? What if you've seen it before, a broken bar, and didn't realize what you were looking at? Now, I'm not saying every 1966 quarter is going to make you a millionaire. Let's be real, that would be chaos. But I am saying, a broken bar, the possibility exists. And sometimes, that possibility is all it takes to change how you look at the world around you. Because wealth doesn't always arrive in obvious ways. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, easy to overlook, like a quarter. So the next time you get change at a store, a broken bar, don't just toss it aside. Take a second, look at it, really look. Check the date, check the edge, check the details. It might feel silly at first. You might even laugh at yourself. What am I doing? It's just a coin. But then again, a broken bar, what if it's not? What if that one small habit, a broken bar, that one extra moment of attention, a broken bar, leads to something extraordinary? Because here's the truth: a broken bar, the people who find rare coins aren't necessarily the luckiest. They're the ones who pay attention when others don't. And that's a powerful idea. Now imagine the feeling of holding something worth millions, a broken bar, knowing you discovered it, a broken bar, knowing you recognized its value when others didn't. That's not just money, that's a story, a legacy, something you can pass down. And maybe broken bar, just maybe broken bar, that story starts today, with a simple quarter, a 1966 quarter, no mint mark, and a possibility that's far greater than it looks.